console here. I mean, it's the piano. That's what it is.
Tonight, almost live, it's America Tonight. 30 minutes of TV on the UBS network. Located on the UBS Broadcasting Mall in El Tacoma, California. The unfinished furniture capital of the world. With Ronnie Martin, who talks to his hand. Maury Johnson, whose father fooled around with Polish women. Kona Golden, who had a baby when she was only a child. With the music of Happy Kind and the Mirthmakers. And me, I'm Jerry Hubbard. Hi, everybody. And now here's your host and mine, Mr. Barth Kimball.
Thank you. No, I don't eat the candy. That's bad for your teeth. I just suck the sugar off. Good evening. And welcome again to America Tonight. I'm Barth Kimball. You know, ever since we moved out here to the coast, I've been enjoying the California good life. I've been working on my tan, not overdoing it. This isn't Sammy and Company, and you don't have to tell me that. And of course, once old Sol takes his ration of downers for the evening, I've been out there getting the gimbal face glimpsed at some of the more glittering discos. Not so much for my own enjoyment, really, but just to give you something decent to read about the next time you pick up People magazine. So, that's all well and good. But unfortunately, every once in a while, ugly old Mr. Real Life has to stick his nose into things and just tries to spoil the party, and that's exactly what's happened to me. To put it simply, my tab at the El Tacoma Breakers Motel seems to have come to a premature end. Now, when I first okayed this arrangement, I guess I was under the mistaken impression that the breakers in the place's name referred to the ocean or the surf or waves or something, rather than to its weekly room rates. At any rate, by this time I've had enough of their courtesy coffee to convince me that courtesy there is a highly overrated virtue, and an overused word at that. What all this is leading up to is that, very simply, yours truly needs a home. Now, I've heard stories about how the prices of houses here in California have gone right through the roof recently. Well, I want to put all potential sellers on notice right now. As a responsible entertainer, I'm going to do everything in my power to avoid contributing to this vicious inflationary spiral. If you want to sell me a 4-bedroom dream home with a pool and the sauna and the cathedral ceiling living room and the master bedroom with the picture window views of the fruit trees outside, that's your privilege. But don't think that just because I spent some recent months in the Midwest that you're going to be able to con this cookie into spending 1 penny over $20,000 to buy it. Okay? I mean, obviously, the value of a celebrity like me living in the house will not be reflected in the price until I sell it. That's just the way the market is. It's crazy. One thing more, those of you watching in the rest of the country who just might be thinking, hey, get on with it, Buster. This doesn't have anything to do with me. Okay. I think if you're completely honest with yourself for a moment, you may realize that you know someone out here in California, and maybe that all too infrequent long-distance call from you might be just the incentive they need to help them decide to sell their house. So maybe after we say goodnight this evening, it'd be a good idea to get out the phone book, hop on the horn, and do something nice for Barth, huh? Okay, in return for the almost 25 minutes of entertainment that I've still got in store for tonight. And here's 1 minute of it. Well, now it's down to 20 seconds of it. They clap for so long. Your friends are here, huh?
Oh, yes.
That's great. You make friends pretty easily, don't you?
Well, pretty much so. You know, when I first got out here, I was wearing those sunglasses on the street, you know, to keep from people recognizing you. And you know something? It works, too.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. But as time went by, I'd walk around and let people know who I was. And you meet a lot of people that way.
That's great. Now the people you met won't recognize you without the sunglasses. So it's going to work again even without them. You know, my first guest tonight is kind of symbolic of, well, really of what the UBS network stands for. He's courageous, he's determined, and he's deaf. But, as is so often the case, he has found humor in his handicap. Ronnie Martin is his name. Comedy's the game. Please welcome Ronnie Martin and Arnold the Alligator.
Now, for those viewers at home who may not be able to understand these jokes, people who are unfortunately not deaf, we could help by reading along with the script. And I think there's a script to this routine he's going to do. If I'm not mistaken, and it's right there, is it?
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yes, here it is.
All right, I will be Ronnie.
And I'll be the alligator.
Okay, that's Arnold the alligator.
Yeah, Arnold the alligator.
Okay, here we go. Hi, Arnold. What's new?
I bought myself a pet bird to keep me company. He's a parrot, and this parrot can say over 200 words.
How can you tell?
By reading his beak. Hey, Ronnie, I've got a joke for you.
It's about time.
No, it's about fishermen. Why did the deaf fisherman drown?
I don't know. Why did the deaf fisherman drown?
He couldn't hear himself sink.
Say goodnight, Arnold.
First, I've got to say, if the folks like your act, they can look you up. You're the only ventriloquist listed in the Yellow Pages.
Why's that?
You let your fingers do the talking.
Those are real teeth. That's a great act, Ronnie. And now it's time for the interview. Jerry, here's your big chance.
Me?
Hi, Ronnie. Me like your act. Me could help you. We find some way to communicate. Me could teach you more jokes. You teach me hand signals.
Jerry, I've got a few hand signals I'd like to show you during the break, if that's all right. One of them you may even recognize. We'll be right back after these words. Thank you. They love to come here to the UBS Broadcast Mall and watch this show, don't they? Right here in El Tacoma, California, where apparently the zip code is EIEIO. Many adults who were adopted as children have lately been seeking out their real parents. Our next guest is here to share the fascinating story of his missing parents. And Jerry, I'm sure it might be a little bit difficult for you to understand the concept of missing parents as opposed to parents who are hiding. In any event, please welcome Mr. Maury Johnson. Fantastic, nice. I hope you weren't waiting too long. We did have that artificial orange drink, and I hope you enjoyed it and helped yourself. Okay, good. Mr. Johnson, I know you were an adopted child who recently traced his real parents. Now, I think the question that we want to know is what you wanted to know. Who were they?
Well, my mother, she was a Polish cleaning woman. Her name was Wanda Misklowski. Unfortunately, she died in 1961.
Well, that was, I guess, about 17 years ago, so we can sort of laugh about it now, I guess. In fact, it's more than interesting. It's interesting, but the other question then, of course, would be, who was your father?
Adolf Hitler.
Okay, how do you know that?
I checked it out.
Well, then, if you don't mind me saying something, and this is with all due respect, your father was one of the biggest creeps of all time. I mean, pardon me for saying this, but it's a well-known fact that he was extremely mean to Jewish people. I don't think I'm talking out of class here. But what the heck right did he have going around the world trying to take over the world from the United States and giving out all kind of orders like he was some kind of dictator or something? You know what I mean? And besides, his personal life wasn't that great of an inspiration for kids either. I happen to know he was going with an Eva Braun for a lot of years. When they finally got married on her wedding day, he caused her to commit suicide. Now, how bad could she have been?
It's no honeymoon.
No, that's his idea of a honeymoon. I say good riddance. Now we find out he was cheating with your mother. Where will it all end? I'm sorry, I just felt it was time someone said something about that guy.
Good, Jerry. Mr. Johnson, your father has been, not just this time, but harshly criticized, I think rather roundly by the whole world. The whole round world, actually. Does knowing what your dad did, does that now bother you at all?
Well, I was very disturbed at first, Barth, but then I thought by sharing my story with other adopted children, it might make them think twice, about digging up their past. Sometimes the truth can hurt.
I believe it, amen. I assume that you have never met your dad, Adolf.
No, I never did. Not even a letter.
Wow, some dad, huh?
Now, how has being Adolf Jr. affected your life?
Well, I've taken quite a bit of kidding from the guys down at work.
You ever go out to Italian restaurants, like spaghetti?
Sometimes.
That's interesting.
Jerry, what is the
Spaghetti,
point? What is the
little,
point? What is the point you're driving at with spaghetti?
My point simply is, weren't the Germans and the Italians a little palsy-welsy during World War II? Or did your father bother to tell you about that, huh? Mr. Johnson, if that's your real name, huh? One false goose step and it's back to the bunker, huh? One see Kyle in your sleep, and it's whoop.
I told you before, I never once did I meet my real father.
Jerry, why don't you do us all a favor, quit trying to make a plane out of that little card. You're always doing that and throwing them. Just put it away. I know it's a nervous habit. Why don't you drop the whole thing, and you're just turning the whole interview kind of sour, to be honest.
We don't want that. We wouldn't want a sour crowd, would we? I figured you'd turn on me, and when the going gets hot, look at him with his blonde hair and his blue eyes. If this guy had his way, you'd be one of the breeders, weren't you? You'd have it easy, sure. It wouldn't be so easy for me, though, would it? Because it's... no, sir, because you probably know that when I was a kid, I used to play with a little Jewish friend, huh? Sure, you know that. Of course, let me make it clear that he wasn't that close of a friend. But that probably makes no difference to you, does it?
Matter of fact, it doesn't.
I rest my case.
We'll be right back after these important words, or they're not important, but we'll still be right back after them. Stay with us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, many parents are finding the traditional parent-teacher associations, so hard to say, PTA, to be outdated and behind the times. That's especially true here in California, where many women from the Haight-Ashbury flower child days of the 60s are now becoming mothers themselves. Please welcome one of the new breed of California mothers, Ms. Kona Golden.
Peace, love.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome to you. It's
Welcome.
so high here, wow.
Yeah, it is high here, Kona. I see you're carrying some, in the spirit of that kind of high life, you're carrying some dead flowers. Now, is there any significance to that?
These are very heavy flowers, Bart. These were given to me at the Woodstock Festival in 1970 by a woman in labor. Very heavy, very heavy.
But then you can lie them down if you like. Okay. You were at Woodstock?
Yes, I was. I marched there.
Oh, that's great. You marched all the way from San Francisco to Woodstock, New York? How long did that take?
5 hours. I was in a plane. But I marched up and down the aisles the entire time. It was really far out.
Well, that is far out. You have spoken, and we had some notes earlier, against some current policies in our school. Now, how about busing, for instance? Is your group in favor of busing?
Oh, absolutely. We believe that children must be exposed to kids that are totally different from themselves, you know.
Okay.
But we would like to see busing based on astrological signs. Say there's too many Geminis at one school, you bust them, you know. Let them mingle with the Taurus, the Sag. Let them know how the other half of the zodiac lives. You know what I'm saying.
Listen, how about your own daughter? You obviously have a lovely little girl, and is she a good student?
Oh, she's a fabulous student when she goes to school. I don't force her to go, you know. I mean, the vibes have to be right. You don't want to lay a trip like that on a kid if it's not flowing, you know.
There's some kids out there agreeing with you.
Right on, right on. Right on.
What is your, Okay, we done with the right-ons and far-ons? Because they mean very much the same thing, don't they? Right-on and far-on?
I think, although they seem to be contradictory terms, they do mean the same.
Now, can you clear that up? Would right-on and far-up be almost the same thing?
Well, my philosophy is everything's everything, you know?
All right, that would mean the same thing as right-on. We have
Right.
all that, okay.
Everything is everything kind of covers all the bases, too. You can't be criticized for that.
No, you certainly can't. No one can say you're wrong.
That's right.
That's for
Everything
sure.
is not everything.
Yeah, because it probably is. You mentioned your daughter. What's her name?
Mahogany.
Mahogany? That's a very progressive name. Let me stop right here and ask kind of a hard-hitting question, and correct me if I'm out of line in asking this, but I want to ask, with a name like Mahogany, would your daughter be, well, might I say, sort of a black child?
No, she was conceived on a desk.
Well, I guess there's only one question to ask after that. Roll top?
Could be advantages and disadvantages. It was big enough you could crawl in and close the door and say, sorry, do not disturb.
We'd rather be alone.
That's right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
I've done
make
it again. I don't know whether it's you or not. My cleaner's gonna kill me. Every time I come to him with gum all over sweaters and things like that, he said, look at those sweater balls you got. No, that's gum. Oh, well, that's too bad. Listen, how would you go about, you're talking about the school reforms, and that's probably more interesting than gum on my suit, depending on where you're coming from, whether you're far out or right on. How would you go about getting those kind of reforms in the schools? Now, you must have a plan.
Well, I feel that parents have to get to know one another. You know, we have to relate to each other. Maybe we could just, like, go up to the mountains and hang out and rap. You know, let's encounter one another for a whole weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I know exactly what you're saying, but I'm wondering if you all went up there, who would take care of the kids?
Oh, that's no problem. Have you ever heard of the tactilian approach to babysitting?
No.
Very heavy approach. That's where you strap the kid right onto your body. They more or less live on you. It makes the kid feel really close to you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you could just lock them in the car. It doesn't matter. The important thing is that parents would be communicating. Do you know where I'm coming from?
I think somewhere between Jupiter and Mars.
Oh, I was going to guess Woodstock or one of the eastern cities.
Yeah, that's possible.
You really are far out, you know?
Yeah, we know he's very heavy, but he's working it up down at the place where he lives. They have one of those saunas. Unfortunately, because of the president's energy crisis, they keep that sauna at 65, so it's not working as well as it could. But he is heavy. You're right, and we're working on it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen,
It's hard to be in and far out at the same time.
That's right. Is there
That chair maybe end up as one of your cufflinks.
Yeah, look at that. It makes my arm feel heavy. It's actually just stuck there. Is there,
I think she's offering you
Why
something
don't you
you
stick
don't...
a flower on the gum?
Aha.
Now, this is dry. Look at this. This is very nice. You know what I like to do is just put this right in my pocket. How's that?
If it comes to life, they'll be coming around.
Some mystical things are going to happen to you with this.
Colombian. I have an overall question to ask you, and I don't mean overalls in terms of the kind of things you like to wear. I mean, is there one overall philosophy your group has that you could say sort of sums this up in a nutshell, which I think is maybe an appropriate term?
Well, basically, we feel that we have to grant children their space. You know, we do. And that parents should be seen and not heard.
Well, fine. I wish, I think as a parent, the fact that you say that parents should not be heard, I think is an interesting thing, and I wish you'd told me that before. We'll be right back. Thank you, Happy. That's about all the time we have for tonight. Just want to thank all my guests for being here and say goodnight to you. Incidentally, a lot of people have been writing in saying, Barth, how the heck can I be on America Tonight? Well, it's like any other television show. You just got to know the right people. Okay? Good night.
Tonight, some members of our studio audience will receive the following: classic Curison Dittos, the Feel to Fit Company. Pants to make every woman feel beautiful in sizes 3 to 13 and 8 to 18. And I like to see them when they're a little too tight. And Lillian Vernon's catalog gift certificate, jewelry, gifts, decor, personalized items, and things from practical to whimsical, furnished by Lillian Vernon. And improved Sergeant Sentry 4 collars. Protect against flea festation and tick festation. Sergeant Sentry 4 collars for itchy dogs and cats.
Tomorrow at 8 p.m., watch for the repeat of the explosive conclusion of The Bastard, Chapter 2. Philip's half-brother comes to America to seek revenge. And next, 10 Little Indians.
Bill Beckett as Maury Johnson and Lotus Weinstock as Kona Golden.